How much time will it take to run a soap business? This is a very important question for people who are looking to start a business because everyone is busy. And in the back of their mind, they have this thought that I can't do a business. I don't have the time. But I'm here to tell you, I think you have more time than you think. You just need a plan. So grab your coffee and let's talk about how to manage your time in your soap business. As we're talking about the time that your soap business will take, I want you to do a little bit of self-reflection. Make a couple of lists for me. The first list is, what time blocks do you have? Maybe you routinely have a couple hours in the evening after the kids are in bed. Maybe you have Wednesday evenings and Saturday mornings. Or whatever your time blocks are, make a list of them and then decide, can you commit these time blocks to your business? It would also be helpful to kind of have an idea of how many hours you have in each of these blocks so you know kind of how much time you have available to commit to your business. So that's list number one. The second list is, make a list of all the tasks you need to do in your business. And if you're still toying around with the idea of a business, make a hypothetical list. If you had a business, what do you know would need to be done? You need to make soap. You're going to need to unmold and cut that soap. You're going to need to label it eventually. You're going to need to register for craft shows or fulfill orders from your website. All of these things are tasks that you would need to do in your business. You need to order more supplies, all of those things. So make a list of all the tasks that you either know of or think would be applicable to your business, and make a list of those as well. Make it as extensive as you can. You just want to have it be all encompassing. And then take your time blocks and start to assign each task to a time block. What are you going to do when? It would be helpful if you had smaller time blocks more often in the week, just because that gives you a little bit more space to spread out rather than all in one chunk. But you have to work with, you got to start where you can start. So find your time blocks, make your list, and then start to assign each task to a time block. Your next task is going to be to get a weekly calendar and make a schedule of when you're going to do each of the tasks in this business. And think about what the order of it is. I like to make soap on Fridays because I know it's going to sit a couple days over the weekend so that I can unmold and cut it on Mondays. So just think about how to organize these tasks in a way that fits your life, but also fits well inside the week. Then evaluate your time blocks. Do you need more? Be realistic about how many tasks are going to fit in each time block. A business is no fun when you're always hurry scurry trying to cram too many things in not enough time. So be realistic about how much time you have and how many tasks will fit into that time block. And you might have to adjust as you go along the way as you start to implement this, but try to be realistic on the front end. Then evaluate the time blocks. Do you need more? What would need to happen in your life to create more time blocks to handle the business? What would need to happen there? When you are making decisions like this, we're always going to need to evaluate priorities in our life. And be honest about where the soap business ranks in the priorities in your life. If you have small kids at home, they are likely a higher priority than your soap business. But if you have some other things that are not as high of a priority, how could you rearrange them or maybe eliminate a couple to make more space for the business that you are trying to grow? So we're always going to be talking about priorities when we're talking about managing your time in your business. Now, like I said, be honest about where the soap business ranks in your priorities. It does not have to be top. Many businesses are not. But if it is, maybe if you're looking at this list and you realize, I want the soap business, but actually it's pretty low. Like I have other things that I allow to be a higher priority than this. Maybe that requires some evaluation. Maybe you need to take a fresh look at all the things that you do. And could some things take a back seat to the business that you're trying to grow? If the business needs more time, how can you find that time? How can you how can you rearrange some of the things that you're doing so that it will fit, or maybe eliminate some of the things that you're doing so that it will fit, or even having someone else come alongside you and help you with some of those tasks that you're having a hard time getting to in your business. Any one of these strategies is going to help you find a little bit more time to help you fit in all the tasks you need to fit in for your soap business. Finding the time for our soap business to fit into our life is a constant challenge, and it's kind of a challenge that never goes away. You're always, as your business grows, it's going to require more, and there's always the shuffling and adjusting of other things to make room to accommodate it. But taking a realistic look at all the things that you're trying to fit into your time and making sure the soap business is at an appropriate priority level, and then also that enough time is assigned to it based on where its priority level is, that is a very helpful exercise for you to just kind of look everything over and make sure it's all aligned and exactly where you would like it to be. I know that I get stuck assuming that my business can fit in the cracks and corners of other things while I prioritize other things, and my business always suffers when I slide into that kind of mentality. So make sure that if you are very committed and you want to get this soap business off the ground, it's going to be a high priority then, and it's going to take more time, and just make the appropriate adjustments to accommodate that. When you are evaluating your time and how to fit a soap business into your already busy schedule, this is a great exercise. It is always about priorities. And what are your priorities? And do your time commitments match what your actual priorities are? This is a great life exercise, but it's also wonderful as you are bringing a business into your life to just evaluate, where is it in my priorities, and have I assigned an appropriate amount of time to accommodate that? If you are a young mom with kids at home, likely those kids are a higher priority and they're going to demand more of your time. But if you are in a transition in life and you really want this thing to take off, know that it's going to need to have a greater allocation of your time, but that's going to give you a lot of time to mess around with it and to play with it and to really enjoy this process and this time in your own life. I know for me, the pothole I fall into in my own business is that I assume that the business things can kind of fit into the corners and cracks of all the other things I'm doing in my life. And when I fall into that pothole, the business always suffers. I get behind, I get frustrated, it isn't fun anymore. And I find that if I can just get those priorities back where they're supposed to be, everything goes a lot more smoothly and I enjoy the process a lot more. So take a little time to evaluate, like, where is this business in your priorities, and what's an appropriate amount of time to assign to that, and then what tasks will fit in those time blocks. And I think you will find a rhythm and a pattern that helps you be proactive in your business instead of reacting and trying to smack out all the fires. This will help it be a lot more pleasurable of a process as well. When you are starting a new business, soap making or otherwise, there is a lot to be done, and there's a lot of details that are all coming at you at once. And it's important to have a plan for how you're going to use your time in your business. And having that plan allows you to be proactive with your business time rather than reactive. Proactive people can see that there are tasks that need to be done, and they know that there are time blocks coming up in the future that they can assign those tasks to, so that they can, have an opportunity to get them done. Reactive looks a little like a dog chasing its tail, where it's, well, I know I have this order I need to fill, so I need to go wrap those soaps, and then I need to ship this order, and then you find out that you have to make soap for this show that's coming up, and whoops, you forgot to register for that other show, and you're just everywhere. And reactive is just an exercise in stress. So having a plan for when things are going to get done and how you're going to use your time in your business smooths that out and makes the whole thing flow a lot more nicely. So I have a couple of tasks for you, a couple things I'd like you to do. Grab a paper and a pen or pencil. We're going to make a couple of lists to help you become proactive in planning your time for your business. When you are starting a new business, soap making or otherwise, there is a lot to be done, and there's a lot of details that are all coming at you at once. And it's important to have a plan for how you're going to use your time in your business. And having that plan allows you to be proactive with your business time rather than reactive. Proactive people can see that there are tasks that need to be done, and they know that there are time blocks coming up in the future that they can assign those tasks to, so that they can, have an opportunity to get them done. Reactive looks a little like a dog chasing its tail, where it's, well, I know I have this order I need to fill, so I need to go wrap those soaps, and then I need to ship this order, and then you find out that you have to make soap for this show that's coming up, and whoops, you forgot to register for that other show, and you're just everywhere. And reactive is just an exercise in stress. So having a plan for when things are going to get done and how you're going to use your time in your business smooths that out and makes the whole thing flow a lot more nicely. So I have a couple of tasks for you, a couple things I'd like you to do. Grab a paper and a pen or pencil. We're going to make a couple of lists to help you become proactive in planning your time for your business. Having a plan and a routine in your soap business is by far the best way to maximize the time you can spend in your business. You will always know what needs to be done, and you'll know the time blocks that you have to assign those tasks to. Also, it helps with the stress, knowing that you have time blocks coming up to handle the stuff that's coming up. Everything does not have to be done in one day, and you have a plan for when it will happen. This just helps you to fly the ship a bit more smoothly, having a proactive plan, and helps also to use that time most efficiently as you're trying to squeeze this into the rest of your life. In our next video, we're going to talk about a different kind of cost in having that's related to having a soap business. It's the cost to your family. The reality is that a soap business is, when you're kind of wedging that into your life, it's going to be felt in all the corners. Everybody's going to notice that something else is happening, something new is there, and they're going to feel that. And the cost to your family can actually be a very positive thing. So I will see you in that video.